Hello and welcome to today's lecture. Today we have actually several new messages from Lantos, and they are important. About 3 weeks ago, Lantos started speaking with Cindy about the knowledge of the sacred sounds that will be coming forth in the next few months. Remember, we have the course that is going to start on November 19th, the first day of the holy season, and it will go through the entire 6 weeks of the holy season. Each day, a set, actually 2 sets of new sounds for 2 seeds, will be released live for everyone worldwide so that we can all enliven them at the same time. So Lantos has been speaking with Cindy about this process. When he started talking about 3 weeks ago, he introduced a new concept, something called the Great Wave. Lantos said, the Great Wave, this is the process of creation, the process of fullness, the limitless source, rising up in its quest to find emptiness, its search for boundaries. It is a search for boundaries within the boundless. As it curls onto itself, it discovers the great empty and scatters traces of empty, and traces of empty form the seeds of creation. 81 seeds of creation. The source of existence is located within the empty value discovered by fullness. This is the process of creation. There is none other. This is the story of the great wave and the scattering of the sacred toes. Emptiness is at the center of all form. Traces of empty scattered by the great power, the mighty force of fullness knowing itself. When we speak of the almighty source of creation, we speak of the supreme governor of this sublime process. As the traces of empty scatter, sounds are issued. Sounds are issued as this primordial process of the great wave curls and traces of empty scatter. These are the essential sounds of creation. These are the sacred toes. These sounds have been heard throughout time by those whose perception is fully awakened. Now is the time of the awakening of the empty to its nature as fullness. Empty must hear the sounds of the awakened value of fullness. About 2 weeks after that, about a week ago, Lantos gave Cindy more information about the Great Wave. Cindy had asked Lantos, can you tell us more about the Great Wave? Is it arriving soon? What will the effects be? And Lantos said, yes, enlivenment of the sacred sounds enlivens the great wave of creation. Enlivenment of the great wave supports the establishment of the golden form for earth. The great wave is the process of creation. This process expresses its form as the golden form of creation. We are moving towards the establishment of the golden form on the physical, material layer of life. All activity, all energy is focused in this direction. So he spoke about the great wave, and importantly, he included that sentence, enlivenment of the great wave supports the establishment of the golden form for earth. But right before that sentence, he said enlivenment of the sacred sounds enlivens the great wave of creation. Now, those of you who have already received your sacred sounds for your inception seed and your reflective inception seed from Cindy, to enliven your moon seeds, the Whisper of the Seeds set. Those of you who have already received these sounds, you already have 2 sets of sacred sounds that you are able to enliven. And when you enliven those, you enliven this great wave. Enlivening the great wave enlivens the golden form of creation. Now, in that same message a week ago, Lantos had another sentence. So I'm not giving you the full message because not all of it was for release to the public. Some of it was just instructions regarding the courses. But in those instructions that Lantos gave, he included a sentence. That sentence was that we needed to increase the waves of initial rotations during this urgent and sacred time of the growth and development of the golden form for Earth. Let me say that again. Increase the waves of initial rotations during this urgent and sacred time of the growth and development of the golden form for Earth. Now that caught our attention. Lantos only once before used the word urgent. It was back in 2001 when he had us develop the bell of Genesis, and he gave us just a 2-week window of time in which to get it out to everyone and have everyone start ringing it. And he said that it was urgent to do it. So when Lantos says the word urgent, it catches our attention. So a few days after that, Cindy asked Lantos, you mentioned that this is an urgent and sacred time. Can you tell us more about the nature of this time and what all of us should be doing to address the urgency? Here is what Lantos said. It is the process of transformation. Consider the pot of water. The water is still. We may say that the water is in a non-energized form. When we add energy, when we introduce a source of energy, heat, the water begins to move. It begins to stir. Slowly at first, the transformation begins slowly. Some time is required for the changes to appear on the surface layer. After some time, we see the water stir, and we begin to hear sounds. Noise accompanies this process of transformation. The disturbance builds as the water becomes more dynamic. As the transformation into the new form approaches, the sounds reach their loudest point of expression. There is a critical point which comes. When the water nears its point of transformation, there is a great ruckus. Then something happens. Silence. Following the energized expressions of sounds, there is a moment of silence. After silence, the transformation occurs. Attaining silence is critical. Silence is achieved through the process of increase of energy. Yet, if the source of energy is reduced, this critical level will not be achieved. Silence will not be achieved, and the transformation will be lost. The turmoil continues. We see turmoil. We hear the ruckus of noise. It is a delicate state for the world to support. In order to pass through this state, greater energy must be applied. This is the critical point which we face at this time. Cindy asked, is there anything more we can be doing? Lantos said, spin the songs. Place a map of the world near to the location of the spinning song. Issue the sacred sounds with the spinning of the song. These sacred sounds soften the harsh influence of the chaotic sounds of commotion. As the fountains arrive, we will place a map or a globe near to the fountain. Many times the process of initial rotations must be generated, many times daily, by many individuals throughout the world. So the instruction is to get a map of the world. Now, we provided a map of the world to you many months ago as we all started the Sunday weekly map treatment using the bio-oscillator. For this, you used a printout of the map, of the world map. Just go ahead and use the same map. Have it near to you. Have it right alongside you or right in front of you, wherever you do your techniques when you use the song to enliven the seeds. Now, normally, you enliven your sacred sounds for inception and reflection only at bedtime, underneath or right alongside the whisper of the seeds, your precious moon seeds. Now, for this, the enlivenment of your sacred sounds of inception and reflective inception, you will do this not necessarily at your bed. You can do it at your bed. You can do it alongside or underneath the moon seeds if you want, but you likely have a different area in your home where you do your techniques, where you enliven your IM seeds in the daily seed and the reflective IM seeds at night, where you do the techniques of elemental sequence, of the family line sequence, the journey into creation, the expedition to the source, where you do all of your techniques. That location is going to be more comfortable for you. Have the map there. Again, right alongside you or right in front of you. Have it near to you as you spin the song. Continue to do the other techniques that you've been doing. But now what you're going to do is you are going to add in the sacred sounds of your inception and your reflective inception seeds. You will do this as many times as you can. Cindy asked Lantos, you mentioned that people should place, and this was a couple days later, she said, you mentioned that people should place a world map near the location of the spinning song and that people should issue the sacred sounds with the spinning song. David is wondering how to instruct people to do this prior to the holy season when we issue the sacred sounds to everyone. Some people have received their sacred sounds for inception and reflection because they have received their whisper of the seeds. But other people who have the songs have not even received this instruction. Should David tell people to enliven their inception and reflective sacred sounds many times each day? So the point of the question was, some of you have 2 sets of sacred sounds, but that's the most that any of you have. No one else has any of the other sacred sounds. So in order to have as many people enlivening their sacred sounds as possible, was I to release more sacred sounds? For example, the sacred sounds for the World Mother seed, so that everyone could be enlivening those seeds. But of course, Lantos had said that we would release the sacred sounds in a very specific order beginning on November 19th. So we didn't know how to approach this issue. And so that was the question that Cindy asked Lantos. And here's what he said. Yes, those who have received the personal sounds of inception and reflection should perform these sounds frequently using the song. So those of you who have not yet received your inception and reflective sacred sounds, you will not be able to enliven those sacred sounds until you do receive those instructions. Those of you who are waiting for your whisper of the seeds, they should be on their way, and we should be scheduling with you your instruction with Cindy so that you can receive those sacred sounds. And this includes those of you in Taiwan, those of you in China, those of you in Japan, those of you in Europe, all around the world. You will be receiving your whisper of the seeds, and we'll be scheduling with you so that you can receive these sounds as quickly as possible. Because the world needs you. The world needs each one of you. It's spinning your song, enlivening the sacred sounds. And what that means is that for those of you who do have your whisper of the seeds already, for those of you who have received your sacred sounds from Cindy to enliven your inception and your reflective seeds, we need you to do extra work. We need you to be enlivening those sacred sounds as much as possible. So in the morning, when you do your morning techniques, take some time to enliven those sacred sounds, spinning the song right near to the world map. Anytime during the day that you're able to do it, go ahead and do it. In the evening time when you get home from work, take a little time to enliven those sacred sounds again next to the map. At night before bed, enliven those sacred sounds by the map before you go to bed, and then you can enliven the sacred sounds again to enliven your moon seeds before going to sleep. We just need you at this time, during this urgent and critical time, to enliven your sacred sounds as much as possible. This is what the world needs at this time. Okay, everyone. I'll speak with you again on Wednesday, and as we get more information from Lantos about the Great Wave, as we get more instructions from Lantos on what each of us can be doing during this period of urgency, I will certainly get that information to you. Thanks for joining me today. I'll speak with you again on Wednesday.